Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading Satellite Office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Tuesday, July the 31st, 2012, and here's today's market wrap-up report. I want to first start by taking a look to see how the indices closed today. The Dow Jones closed down 64.33. The Nasdaq closed down 6.32, and the S&P 500 closed down 5.98. Also, if I take a look here at the Russell closed down 4.64, closing down 0.59%, which was the weakest index on the board today. All right, which has been showing relative weakness, for the past couple weeks or so. And one thing I want to point out on the Russell, which I showed you guys earlier in the week, I believe, or over the weekend video, was the fact that we're kind of in this we are in this little downward channel right here. And if the market was to sell off tomorrow, all right, this has a lot of room to go down since we're at the top of the channel. However, if the market was to get a nice little breakout tomorrow, this could actually, catch people by surprise, because then it will be, breaking through the top of this little channel right here. So keep an eye on the Russell. The Russell is showing you some good relative weakness across the board. So that's going to be something good to watch going forward to see if the Russell 2000 continues to show weakness, all right, compared to the other indices. So we'll see how that shapes out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ES, which is what I like to track the most, as you guys know. And so far, we're still in this little upward channel. You can see here we got rejected from the back test of that neckline from the head and shoulders pattern breakdown. All right, which I've been highlighting to you guys. Let's go ahead and highlight that. All right, you can see we try to actually come near the area up here. We got rejected. And then again, in the area right near that trend line, we got rejected. Now, that trend line is important, again, for you guys that have not seen my previous videos or, are not recognizing this pattern. In fact, we have this little head and shoulders breakdown that happened back here in, early May. And as you guys know, when you break a trend line, all right, you usually get a back test of that trend line. So this whole time we've just been grinding higher, and now we're finally in the area where we can say we got an official back test, which is, kind of maybe even the second attempt. If you look at this as an attempt right here, it didn't touch it, but it came close, and look what happened. They sold it off. So once again, we got rejected on Monday. We're coming back in here. We have a big announcement tomorrow, all right? And, we're at a key area. That key level is 1370. All right, you can see how that's a key level because it was a range that we were trading in for like the previous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks or so. So if we hold 1370 tomorrow, if we hold 1370 tomorrow, we have a good chance of making a move back up towards the top area in these high 1380s. However, if we have some news coming out from the Fed, which is what everybody's been waiting for, that's why we've been getting some nice consolidation up here after these two strong updates here last week, Thursday and Friday. All right, if we have some good news, we could hold this 1370, maybe get a pop back up and hold a nice tight flag. All right. However, if we have some bad news, all right, or you could say not even bad news, but just in general, the market doesn't like it, we could get a nice little pull in, and that'll still be healthy for the fact, off this big move, as long as we hold the 50% or even like the 38.2%, which is somewhere around the 1365 area, we're still in good shape, all right, because we're still in this little upward channel, and we're still holding above this little upward range, this 1370 level, which is key that I'm watching. So therefore, we want to watch yesterday's lows. Well, I'm sorry, we want to watch today's lows in the ES, which is 1371. All right, if we break below 1371 tomorrow, we're holding below 1371, then we can expect a move back down towards the lower 60s or so. So we'll see how that plays out. And tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day, guys. So make sure you have your game plan ready to go, and you're ready to rock and roll in the morning. So let's take a look at another interesting thing that I want to show you guys, which is the volatility index. Excuse me, I still have a stuffy nose and still feeling a little bit sick over here. But in any case, the VIX volatility index is breaking out of a falling bull wedge, right? It's getting back into its groove to try to make an attempt to move back to the top side here. And if this volatility gets back in the zone, obviously we're going to see the market get a nice little move to the downside. All right, we do have an official back test right here, and we've been going up ever since earlier this week. Actually, in Sunday night's video session that we had, I brought this to the attention of everybody that was in the chat room on our live Sunday night sessions that we host. All right, so if you would have known that, you would have been a little more careful this week, expecting the volatility to pick up a little bit. So going into tomorrow, Wednesday, the first day of the month, we want to see how money's going to come flowing into this market, especially with the Fed news coming out. That's why tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day, and we want to watch this volatility. If volatility does pick up here, we could get a move back above 20. All right, so keep the volatility index on your radar, and just notice that it's breaking out of a bull flag, a falling bull wedge, and the back test happened Friday, and so far it's holding. Some of you guys may play that using the VXX, or better yet, some of you guys may play it using the TIVX. All right, and the VXX is at a double bottom right here on the daily chart, as you can see. All right, what's the next best thing that I want to show you guys that I have written down in my notes? I want to take a look at crude oil selling, USO. I'll actually take a look at crude oil futures. All right, crude oil futures back at this key level that I'm watching, which is this 87.75 a barrel, call it, or just 87 level in general. I want to see it hold above that nice whole number. Remember, we had that little inverted head and shoulders breakout in the crude futures back here. All right, last month with our left shoulder, our head, our right shoulder, our breakout from a neckline that obviously is failing, as you guys can see, and now holding as resistance. All right, so watch crude oil this week, and we got to watch crude oil closely going into next week to see what's going to happen here, because at this key level, is crude oil going to hold this $87, per barrel bid right down here, and trade in the range now between say 87 or 88 and this upper range up here, or even 90 for a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm watching crude oil as well as another indicator that I'm watching for that sector is obviously ExxonMobil, which is at the top of its range on a 1, 2, 3, 4. You can say like a 5 topping pattern right here, right? And then at the same time has a nice little steep trend line. Let me zoom that back out real quick. Has a nice little steep trend line that's going to be coming in here from this little upward channel. So a lot of interesting things going on out there, guys. The steel stocks are getting a nice bounce today off of U.S. steel earnings. Looking at the Bloomberg Business Week report here, shares of U.S. steel jumped 9% Tuesday after the manufacturer exceeded Wall Street expectations for the second quarter by raising some prices and selling more steel to energy companies. That lifted the whole sector up. Let me put the studies back on the chart here, and you can see U.S. steel getting a nice little bounce. Like I was telling my buddy in the chat room, the steel sectors has been oversold, and just basically has been beaten down since the beginning of February, especially once it attempted to break past those highs and fell and pulled back in here. So U.S. steel could definitely get a bounce, a little short cover rally. Today's just the first day off the earnings report. Continue to watch U.S. steel going forward. I'm pretty sure you can get some nice intraday trades off of it, for the rest of the week. As if you're looking for stocks and play with volume, this one should be on your radar to trade whichever way it goes, just to take it as intraday trades during the session. So another stock you can watch in that sector is NUE, which NUE is actually looks a little bit stronger. Obviously, it's kind of not at the very low bottom of the range. It's more above this, like say upper range, but it's still below some key levels up here, and it's going to be attempting to get back with this key level right here, which is $40. All right, from this little level right here, you see this action around here, and then the breakdown, move up, and it fell right down there. So 40 is a key level in the stock. Watch NUE. I see FSLR trying to bounce a little bit. Just to go over some charts with you guys real quick. FSLR trying to get a nice little bounce. Looks like they have earnings tomorrow after the bell. All right, but if you take a look at the 60-minute chart real quick here, I like this pattern. All right, pattern looks real strong. You got a nice little bull flag that broke out on the 60-minute today in the last hour. So what does this mean? Well, if you know one of our strategies that we do, or that I do, and I know a lot of other traders out there do it as well, this could be a stock that you watch in the first 5 minutes for the opening trade here. If it gaps down tomorrow slightly inside this little area right here, you could buy it. That's when you see that little 60-minute. That's when later on in the day you'll see that nice little 60-minute candle with a tell you like, man, people actually got in down there, yeah, because this was a strategy and they were sitting there waiting to buy. So that's something that you guys can look for. Watch FSLR. I like the pattern. If you take a look at CRUS, I called out a nice trade at CRUS today, intraday in the chat room, which you could sign up to the chat room at wallstreettrading.com and fill out the form on the right-hand side. So taking a look at CRUS, had great earnings. They do a lot of business with Apple, so maybe they had some good numbers since they did a lot of business with Apple, for the past quarter or so. And the stock gapped up, a lot. Closed up closed with $6.93, up 23.22%. Stock's going to be in play. Make sure you watch it hitting all-time highs. We take a look at the 5-minute chart, and that sounds like a muffler right now because my nose is stuffed up. So bear with me, please. If we take a look at the 5-minute chart, this was a nice trade right here. I actually called this trade out in the chat room. Stock was showing relative strength to the market, was trading a nice little tight pattern, making higher lows, and right in this area right here, every time it was dropping below the 45, all right, actually every time it was dropping below the 50s, the 45s here, they just kept on scooping up the shares. Against that 39, it'll go to 50. I was reading the tape. It'll go to 50, then it'll drop down to 45, the low 40s, and they'll scoop it right back up. So I recognize that relative strength and that strength of the tape. Got the traders involved at 36.55 area, and we are able to peel some out of some of that around the 37.20 area. You can come to the chat room, check out some more trades that we do. You're more than welcome to come. Like I said, just go to wallstreettrading.com and fill out the form on the right hand side. All right, so last but not least, let's take a look at Apple, AAPL, Apple strong stock. I mean, guys, this stock is on a tear. After gapping down from the earnings and holding that nice little 570 bid, which was a pretty good level to respect on a technical basis, right? Since the past couple months here, that's been a key area, main level to watch in that stock. So 570 is the bottom of the range, and now the top of the range is back up here towards 620. All right, I'm not saying we're going to break out immediately, sometime this week because we are really extended. It's at 570 at 610. It has already ran 40 points, even though it is a strong stock with a lot of institutional, buying behind it, so it could move up higher. But just watch the stock around the 620. I believe if we were to gap up towards that level tomorrow, something like that, that would be a good opportunity to get a scalp short, or that would be a good opportunity to even let it break past 62.21 and see if you can find some intraday weakness on it, which is another strategy. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, please bear with me. I know I sound like a muffler. I'm kind of sick right now, but the videos will be much better going forward as I'm starting to feel a little bit better. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope to see some of you guys in the chat room. And if you have any questions, email me at ccooper@Wall Street Trading. And make sure you check the website out and the YouTube channel at My Wall Street TV. Have a great night, guys. Bye.